And we're back. Welcome to All Tech Radio podcast on YouTube. This is the show where you learn about all the news and technology related to working in the world of IT. No matter what your job is in IT, we cover all aspects of work-life balance, job duties, salary, and everything else related to computers and technology. I'm your host, Robert McMillen, along with my co-host, IT consultant Scott Portinga. Welcome back to the show, Scott.
Well, thanks for having me, Robert.
Well, somebody's got to, right?
That's true. I'm
Well,
stuck
here we
away
are.
in my little IT hole here.
Yeah.
Good to see the outside world every once in a while.
Hey, as long as you're billable, all right?
Yep.
The magic words. Well, we're excited to have another All Tech Radio show, and I wanted to start out by saying, check your credit card statements because I had a fun time. I was just telling Scott before the show, we found some credit card charges from Microsoft. We don't know what they're for. So the first thing I did was I went to...
The description is very cryptic.
Yeah, really, yeah. So the first thing I did was I went to call the phone number on the credit card statement. It said, hey, call Microsoft if you have any questions. So they were left a handy phone number. So I called the phone number. The phone, bot asked me a bunch of questions. I responded and I said, sorry, but we can't answer this here. Go to this website, and then hung up on me. So I go to the website and, I open a dispute. Somebody gets on chat, a real person that seems, could be wrong. It could have been an artificial intelligence bot. I don't know, but it seemed like a real person. And so I gave them all the information from the credit card. They have a charge number that's in the credit card statement. So you're supposed to be able to have the vendor look this up to see what it was, why it was they charged you. So I gave them all that information. They said, no, we can't figure that out. Goodbye. So then that was that. And so then finally I called the credit card company, opened a dispute, and that was a whole other issue. But anyway, we are on the hunt to find out what this $330 worth of credit card charges that we've been being charged for many months, what they are for. And they could be, legitimate. We just don't know what they're for.
Yep.
So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why they have accounting departments, Robert.
Yeah.
To go through all this stuff.
You'd think they do. I think Microsoft fired their entire accounting team and replaced them with AI bots. I think that's what it is.
That would not surprise me at all.
All right. So I thought it would be kind of nice for a lot of people because the big news out of Intel is they are opening up a new plant in Washington County, Oregon, which is where I am. Scott's a little bit over to the right side, over in actually to the left.
I'm over on the
Sorry.
left. Yeah.
No, over to the left, over in Portland.
Looking down from Canada.
And so I thought I would try to help some people out who may not understand some of these different terms, the terminologies that are coming out when it comes to some of these different processors. Try to break it down for us, Scott. What do you think?
That would be an excellent idea because you see these news stories and they're probably wondering, what is all this money going for?
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's a new term that's being buzzed around called generative AI, or generative artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence up till now has been, you go to ChatGPT or Bard or Bing, and then there's an AI there. You can type in a question that like you would ask a human, and then it was supposed to give you a human-like response, even though it's definitely not human. And so I went ahead and looked into this generative AI. It's like, that's a new term. What is that? Well, it's artificial intelligence that's capable of generating not just text, but also images and video, like media, videos in response to prompts. So like, make me a video of, someone getting hit in the face with a water balloon, that kind of thing. And it'll make a short video based on what it is that you say. So if you see a generative AI out there, then that's what that does. And Google's actually getting into that now recently as well. So then we have another thing that people should know about, and that is the AI processor. Have you heard about AI processor, Scott?
I didn't know they had special processors.
Yeah, well, up until recently, we've only been using graphics GPUs, graphic processor units, like we have been for gaming and for Bitcoin mining and all that kind of stuff. But now there is a special processor if you're going to put this into a server that's going to, be an AI server. So it's called an AI processor. So the difference is between a normal processor and AI processor is a normal one is a general purpose one used to perform, just general computing things. AI are processors are special purpose ones used to perform specialized AI and machine learning tasks. So that is the difference between the two. Now, what's interesting about Intel is that they, about a year ago, maybe even longer, but we just didn't know it. But about a year ago, we heard that they started making graphics cards again. They made them a long time ago and then stopped. And now they're like, hey, NVIDIA is making a lot of money off of these processors, for graphics. We better think about this. And up until about that time, graphics processors were being used for AI. There was no, well-known AI type of processor just for this task. Well, now that's all flipped in just a year. And now Intel is giving details on AI chips as we talk about the expansion into the Washington County, Oregon plants. They're putting in almost $1 billion. I think it's actually about $1 billion in tax dollars. I don't think it's $1 billion of Intel dollars.
Wow.
Because, they passed that chip.
That's right.
Well, I forget what it is, but anyway, it's a big handout for anybody who makes chips. So Intel's like, hey, I got a big hand, so fill it up with money. So that's exactly what happened. Anyway, some new details for artificial intelligence computing. Intel plans to introduce as soon as 2025 as it shifts strategy to compete against NVIDIA. So Intel's been hurting. It's been hurting bad because they did not plan ahead for chip technology for phones and tablets and things like that. So ARM technology, which is made by companies in England and other places, they came out with chips that were better for low power types of processors for small devices. And Intel just completely missed the boat. As a matter of fact, if you look at the stock price of Intel and Microsoft about 5 years ago, they were both about $25 a share. And last month, Microsoft went over $300. And Intel's only about $29. So Microsoft was the one, that took off, when they introduced all their cloud, computing and they can make a lot more money, obviously, with cloud computing than they can selling you an operating system.
Well, historically, the low power chips that Intel makes for small devices and for laptops and everything, they've really been bad.
Yeah.
It's like you get it and you think, oh, they optimized it and it'll work well. No.
So to make up for it, what they're going to do is they're going to try to make money in the server game. I mean, of course, they're still going to try to make their processors better for small devices, but who knows when or if that's going to happen. Everybody else is just so far ahead on that. But they're going to try to do better with the AI game because they know that that's going to be the future of selling processors.
So are these modifications of the Xeon processor, or is it a whole new family?
Well, they're saying it's a whole new family. They're calling the Falcon Shores chip. It'll have two. This is crazy. I don't know how they're going to do this. 288 gigabytes of memory and support 8-bit floating point computation. So again, I don't know how this is going to work, but that's an awful lot of memory.
Well, it is, but I mean, years ago, I was configuring servers with server boards that could handle 192 gigs of RAM.
They're talking about the processor supporting 288 gigs of memory, where not just the motherboard. I mean, this is going to be a beast.
It sounds like it.
That nobody else, as far as I can tell, is going to even come close to competing with.
That's what they're hoping. Yeah,
that is what they're hoping. But of course, it's going to come at a price. It's going to eat up a lot of electricity. Ever since Bitcoin, stopped, a lot of people stopped mining for Bitcoin because the price came down, and even had Russia and China go in and just literally bulldoze the computers that were doing Bitcoin mining because they needed that electricity for production. And making Bitcoins was not making China and Russia any money.
No.
So they
Cost
took
money.
steamrollers, and I saw some of the videos. It's pretty funny, and just rolled over these, all these things, and said, "You will not use it anymore." So now, of course, Russia will still use it when it comes to stealing from people in other countries, but you just can't, do it within, Russia itself or buying things within Russia. So anyway. Intel first was thinking GPUs are going to be the way, and they are starting to make some decent graphics cards. But really, what's going on here is they're going to be making these AI chips, and it wouldn't be a bad idea if you got a few extra bucks to throw it into Intel and see where it goes. I doubt it could get any less than $29.
That's true. It can only go up from here.
We hope. Yes. So another interesting thing going on is the Apple AirTags. You ever used AirTags before?
I have not used AirTags. I've used some other brands of Bluetooth, tracker things, but I have not used AirTags.
Oh, okay. So you haven't used it to track your wife or anything like that?
Oh, no.
A lot of people are doing that, tracking
put it on my
husbands and
business
wives
partners.
and girlfriends and boyfriends. So Apple AirTags 2 may launch next year. So for anybody who travels, AirTags is awesome because you'll be able to follow your suitcase, that you may have checked in wherever it goes. And some people have posted some online stories about some airline people took the suitcases home. They ended up like in multiple different countries, and the people who own the suitcases, they go up to the counter at the airport and say, "Hey, get my bag." And they're like, "We don't know where your bag is." And they'd say, "I know where my bag is. Now go get it." So AirTags 2 may launch next year. I read a story the other day about a guy who had his AirPods in his case, in the pocket. It's a fairly small case, but you could still slide in an AirTag into the case. Wow. So he's in the airport. I'm sorry, he's in the plane, and he's like, "Wow, where did my earbud things go? Where what's going on?" And so the person sitting next to him, he's helping the guy trying to find him, and because he didn't want to just sit there and listen to the airplane sounds, and so he's like, "Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll check it out on my phone and find out where they are." And they were in the guy's bag that was helping him look for him. He had stolen them.
How did those get there?
Oh yeah, that's exactly what the guy said. He's like, "Oh, I had no idea that was in there."
Just falling in there.
So
underneath everything else.
Exactly. So the guy who owned the AirPods said it was a very uncomfortable flight after that. But AirTags 2 are coming out. Look like they're going to be a little smaller. It's interesting how these things work because they don't have any power really inside them. They sort of work off of RFID. So the way it works is anybody with a cell phone or tablet or any Apple product, a laptop, any Apple product that's connected to the internet, if they get close to one of these AirTags, then the AirTag checks in through that device up to the internet and then tells you where that device is. And so that's how people are putting this on their trailers, their cars, their all different kinds of things, and they're super cheap too. And so it's a great way to track any of your stuff in case it gets stolen, all the way as small as AirPods.
But also be careful. I've heard of people that somebody has, for stalking purposes, they'll, kind of bump into them and slip it into a pocket. And
I've got information on that too. So Apple's teaming up with Google on that, which is interesting. I'll tell you about that in a second. But Apple plans to utilize AirTags. Outside of the Find My application, say they'll be more closely integrated with Apple's upcoming Vision Pro headset and part of a spatial computing ecosystem. I don't know what all that means yet, and I don't think they do either. But the current AirTag priced at $29. They've gained sales momentum over time. They're about the size of a poker chip. I mean, they're really, pretty small. They sold 20 million units in 2021 and 35 million last year. So this is definitely a big deal. This is starting to become a bigger thing. It does work with Bluetooth, and of course, the tags themselves in the device, they don't, have to have anything special in them other than the RFID. Result, Apple added safeguards like notification alerts, and here we go, formed an alliance with Google to prevent stalking. So that's interesting. Apple and Google team up to prevent AirTag stalking. Being tracked without your knowledge this is, by the way, from tomsguide.com. Being tracked without your knowledge by an AirTag or other Bluetooth-enabled tracking device could soon be a thing of the past, thanks to a new specification put forth on Google and Apple. So they teamed up, which is really strange for those two. So finding devices, of course, is very useful for these Bluetooth-enabled devices. Specification will allow Bluetooth trackers to be compatible with unauthorized tracking detection and alerts across both Android and iOS. So it's going to be added into Android. That's interesting.
Huh.
Yeah, but it'll also mean that Android will be able to. You won't have to just have an Apple device to notify the internet. I mean, a chip could go through an Android up to the internet and then notify an Apple, user. So it's just going to work.
That'll broaden the usability quite a bit.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of people have been tracking other people, and this way you can now a critical step forward to help combat unwanted tracking across iOS and Android. So you'll get a notification if there is like say you have an Apple AirTag on you, and you turn on your phone, you can get a notification if you download the app that there is an AirTag within X amount of inches or feet of you, and then you'll know that somebody is tracking.
Uh-huh.
So it also, I think it'll make it easier for people who steal cars too, because they'll be like, "Oh, I wonder if this car has an AirTag."
Yeah, there is one there. There it is. Yeah, that's true.
Well, with the good comes the bad, right?
Yep.
Did you hear about the new cancer pill?
No,
It doesn't give you cancer. I'm sorry. I should have worded that better.
Anti-cancer pill.
The new anti-cancer pill. All right, so they're now doing human trials on a pill that cures 70 known different types of cancers. They've already done it on animals, of course, like they always do, usually mice, that kind of thing. But they are now doing it in a trial version with people to possibly eliminate 70 different types of cancer.
Wow, that's a big big thing.
That's a big deal. That reminds me of that Will Smith movie where somebody, cured cancer, and then it turns out they all turned into zombies. But I Am Legend, yeah, that's great.
Oh, yep.
Yeah. My dad, he used to give rats cancer for the government. The government, I grew up on rat cancer money. So what he would do is he helped develop this see-through rat, where you could see the organs, so you wouldn't have to cut them open, And then once they, developed through various different gene splicing techniques, once they developed a see-through rat, then they would give them cancer, and then they would try to cure the cancer, but they would do it in a way where you wouldn't have to, cut the rat open. Right. So he would bring the rats home to play with, so that was fun.
Really? So you got see-through pets?
Had some see-through pets. Yeah, it was a little bit unnerving, but there you go. So let's see what else is going on. Humans can detect deepfake speech only 73% of the time. So humans comes from The Guardian. Humans are able to detect artificially generated speech only 73% of the time, a study has found, with the same levels of accuracy found in English and Mandarin speakers. So basically, somebody could go out and do a deep fake of the president saying something, and 73% of the people will say, yep, that's probably right. Although I'm sure there's good detectors as well.
I don't know if we talked about this before, but Google says don't Bard it. You should still Google it.
Oh, really? Why is that?
Bard is wrong most of the time, or a lot of the time.
What?
Or if you do Bard it, you need to Google it also to see if Bard was
just to
correct.
Confirm it?
Yes.
Wow. I had not heard that. That's interesting. Now, I have actually used Bard. I've used ChatGPT, various different things. I do a lot of research for the courses I do. And sometimes if I just put in a Google search for how to do something, I get whichever website is either an ad or the most popular one that people click on. And that doesn't make it right either. So I'm glad to have this extra way or multiple extra ways of looking up, how to do certain things. Now, we may have mentioned this before, but Azure Active Directory is now Azure Entra ID, and things look different and they act different, and there's no good documentation yet on on any of this stuff.
Feel your way through.
Yeah, so I've got courses coming up where I have to teach people, Entra ID, but it's so new that I'm learning it, before I teach it, kind of a thing.
So you're writing the book on it now.
Yeah, that's right. And so, like I said, there's some things that are just not out there yet. And so it's nice to have, if you're using the up-to-date version of some of these AIs. I know that the original ChatGPT was only good to like 2019 or 2021 or something like that. I don't remember. But if you go to Bard or you go to some of these other ones, they are, current on what they know about. So let's see. We've got Google starting to let users into its AI search experiment. And this is from The Verge. A few Google users are, so you can sign up for Bard, by the way, which is their AI at bard.google.com. As long as you already have a Gmail, you have a Google account, you can go to Bard and you can sign up and get access right away. But there's a new thing out here that users are starting to see a very different set of search results that Google announced. It's opening up access to Search Labs. Have you heard about this?
I have not.
It's the new home for testing search features. Labs is guarded by a wait list, so you can't just jump into it. And it's not clear how quickly Google intends to let people in. But weeks after announcing Labs at Google I/O, that's one of their conferences, it's starting to open up a bit. So the most interesting feature, according to The Verge, is the search generative experience, which puts an AI-generated summary at the top of search results across Google. So you ask for the information about the, whatever it is that you're looking for, and then it's going to generate a few paragraphs of information, offer you a few links for further reading. They already kind of do that already, but they just do it using the most popular, search results. But now they're going to let AI actually, go in and make some comments. I'd be interested to see, how that's different. I'll bet it's a lot less accurate.
I would think so.
Because it's AI.
Exactly.
I've been reading so many different stories from people about how much dumber AI has gotten and how less useful it is because they have locked it up so much.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard about this?
Yeah, I've seen a few articles about that. I haven't read them in depth, but it's, like we talked about before, it is combing the internet for information, and so much on the internet is crap.
Yeah, that's true.
Garbage in, garbage out.
That's true. I recently bought a new house, and inside my garage is a Tesla charger. And I don't have a Tesla, but some previous owner did. My wife says, let's just get that thing taken out of here. Somebody said you can sell it for like $500. Yeah. I'm not going to do that because Tesla is now becoming the default charger for all electric cars. So the charger connection I have now will be good for my electric car I buy in a few years,
Exactly.
Which we're all buying in a few years because, the percentage of electric cars is going to go up, gas cars is going to go down. And this is already built in. I mean, it was professionally done with, piped in with a metal, conduit, the whole thing. I'm like, I'm not taking that thing out.
Yeah, I would leave it in there too. If it's not taking up too much space.
It even shows up on Wi-Fi. Like if you go to see what available Wi-Fi access points there are, it shows up as an access point.
It's just a big USB charger, right?
Yeah, right. It's just a big USB charger. That's right. Yeah. But it's funny because you can connect your car to it and then you can connect to the app and you can look on your phone how charged up your phone is before you take off. So that's pretty neat. But something that's not so great for Tesla happened this week. A group of hackers have exposed an exploit that can unlock Tesla's software locked features worth up to $15,000. So did you know you had to pay extra for heated seats and the self-driving package?
And it's not just them. BMW and Mercedes is doing the pay for heated seats thing. It's a subscription. They want the whole world to go to subscription models,
right?
Because it makes them more money.
Exactly. It's not just a buy it once or anything like that. It's all a rental.
Exactly.
So yeah, Tesla's been doing this since virtually all its vehicles with the same hardware, and owners can unlock features later through software updates by putting your credit card information in. So this includes the heated seats, acceleration boost. Oh man, that would stink if I was trying to pass a truck and was like, oh no, my subscription ran out.
Exactly. Please enter your credit card information now.
And of course, the full self-driving package, which we've already heard a lot of people don't trust for various different reasons.
Well, for good reasons. Yeah.
So there's a group of security researchers, hackers in Berlin that announced that they managed to exploit a weakness in the onboard computer to unlock the features. So you can. Let's see how you can get, if you've got your own Tesla, let's see, how can you jailbreak your Tesla?
But what stops working?
There's a video. I'm not kidding. There's a video called Jailbreaking an Electric Vehicle in 2023. Hotwire a Tesla x86 based heat seater. It's coming out next week. So maybe we'll pull that up next week and we'll take a look at that.
That'll be fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So apparently Tesla's using AMD processors in their car.
You knew they would go cheap.
Yeah, that's right.
That's just the kind of guy he is.
The group of hackers claims that their Tesla jailbreak is unpatchable and allows to run arbitrary software on the infotainment. So there's no way that you're going to get a software update that's going to unjailbreak your car. However, let's say you take your car in to get serviced, it's jailbroken. What if Tesla says we're not going to fix it because you jailbroke your car?
Yeah, you have violated your EULA.
When we first started talking about jailbreaking iPhones years ago, because iPhones didn't have all the apps we wanted, so we would jailbreak it and use a third party store. And then go in and buy what it is that we needed. I can't remember what it was that we wanted. Oh, I think I know what it was. Apple was charging extra to connect to Outlook on your Exchange server. This was before Exchange Online. And we didn't want to pay the extra fee, so we jailbroke the phone. And then we were able to get it without having to pay Microsoft or Apple for it. That was, we're talking like... 2010? I mean, it was a long time ago. But yeah, it was a nice little extra store to have. I never would have thought that we'd have to jailbreak our car. I mean, just was that never, I never would have thought of that.
I know there's some court cases, along the heated seats line that judges are going to decide. I mean, you are selling them a car with heated seats.
Right.
You can't take them away afterwards. They bought the car with heated seats.
There you go. That's right. Sell it to me without the heated seats and sell it to me for cheaper or something. But
exactly,
you can't do that. I mean, that's going. There's a lot of computing devices out there. I remember the first one were the IBM calculators. So the IBM calculators, for $300 extra, and back then that's like $3,000 because it was back in the 50s or 40s. You could have an IBM technician come in and you could speed up the calculator like 2 or 3 times. I can't remember, but it was just a massive speed upgrade. So you could operate the calculator much more quickly and be more efficient. So a lot of companies and government institutions are like, oh, I'll pay that because, my employees will be more efficient. It'll save me money in the long run. Turns out all they did was they moved a rubber band, which was the drive gear band, from the small gear to the large gear, closed it up and said, here's $300, please.
Wow.
Yeah. That was the first one that I had heard of. But, now there's a whole bunch of different types of electronics out there that have this. If you pay the extra, it'll start to work.
Yeah.
But cars, I mean, wow! That the first time I heard that, I thought, well, I'm never going to buy a Volvo or a BMW. That doesn't matter to me. But now they're going to be coming down to more popular, mid-level type cars, and
That's kind of scary because if it's software driven, whether you have this function or not, and like you were saying, all of a sudden your acceleration subscription runs out.
Yeah.
As you're trying to pass a truck on a hill.
Yeah. You're dead, and now your family's suing Tesla.
So, as you see here in the fine print, we're not responsible for anything that happens.
Oh, yeah.
You
click the box that says you read the EULA, the end user license agreement.
you bought our product, you take your lumps.
Yeah, well, I'm really hoping that judges, do this right by us, because this is crazy. That they would do. I would rather put in a third-party heat seater or something, or just not buy that car and buy something that doesn't have it. I don't know.
I think it's referred to as laissez-faire capitalism.
Oh, interesting. I had not heard that. I like that.
Let the buyer beware.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Microsoft. Speaking of people that do things, Microsoft accidentally leaks an internal tool. This is from Windows Central. Accidentally leaks an internal tool that can enable hidden Windows 11 features. So Windows 11 features that can allow you to do things that you would normally pay extra for, or just allow developers to use. I'm not really exactly 100% sure, but it's an internal tool that allows Microsoft engineers to enable and test hidden features, which is leaked out. The tool leaked via a bug bash was accidentally put live to the public. Windows insiders can use this tool to enable A/B features that they don't yet have access to. A/B features, boy, that's A/B usually means you can have like a working environment and a test environment all on the same computer, but I'm not sure that that's what this means here. So they've accidentally leaked the tool, can enable in development and hidden features found in the insider previews of Windows. It's dubbed staging tool. So you can, anybody can go to be a Windows 11 insider. All you have to do is go to, do a quick Google search for Windows Insider, and they'll allow you to download, demo versions, or beta versions, sometimes even alpha. I mean, brand new versions of whatever Windows operating system is current, and then you install it. I would only install this as a virtual machine, though, because you could really mess your life up if you put
exactly. Do not put it on your production machine.
Yeah, I think we've all done that mistake one time.
What could possibly go wrong?
It's Microsoft, right? Oh yeah, it's Microsoft.
That's right. That's right. It is Microsoft.
Microsoft still hasn't publicly acknowledged this feature that has come out, and I'm sure they're looking at who accidentally did this.
Yep, tracing your IP address.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's see our final story of the day. Russian hackers target government organizations in Microsoft Teams phishing attacks. As I had mentioned last week, phishing attempts still make up 90%, or at least 90% of all hacks, according to many security experts. And so basically what that means is you get an email, and that email could show up in, not just in Outlook, but, web access, your phone. Emails can now show up in Teams as well. So if you have linked your email to Microsoft Teams, then, which you do by default when you log in, but you can add in the email add-on. I mean, it's not there by default, but you can add the email add-on so you can get email while you're in Microsoft Teams. Now, for those of you who don't know what Teams is, it's just like Zoom or Google Meet, except for it has a lot more capability. It also has a lot more security that you can put on there as well. But again, if you're not using it, then it's not secure. So Russian Foreign Intelligence Service targeted dozens of organizations, including government agencies, in Microsoft Teams phishing attacks. I would probably call this spear phishing because this is targeted, to specific people.
Definitely spear phishing.
Yeah. 40 unique global organizations, according to this article from Bleeping Computer. They indicate specific espionage objectives by Midnight Blizzard, directed at government, non-government, IT services, technology, and others. So they utilized Microsoft 365 tenants. So this is not the, like, some people have servers on site that do various things, but this is the Microsoft 365 version of it. So it creates new technical support themed domains and sends tech support lures or phishing attempts to trick users of the targeted organizations using these social engineering attacks. So if you get something that looks like it's coming from Microsoft, it doesn't necessarily mean it is.
Yeah, check the from address. I mean, that can be spoofed too, but normally they don't. You can hover over that, even though it said Microsoft support, hover over it and you'll see the real email address.
Exactly. I'm looking at one of the messages here. It says Microsoft Identity Protection wants to chat with you. But it isn't Microsoft that's doing
No,
it.
it's not.
Yes. It just goes to show you that Russia is the enemy of the world, and
They are.
have been
There's
for
no
a
way
long
they
time.
could ever really be our friends.
No, they really can't. Even if you get somebody friendly in there, they're not joining NATO, even though they tried at one point.
Yep. Well, they wanted to be on the inside.
Well, yeah, I was wondering what could possibly, they do evil if they join NATO, right? Because it's supposed to have all these checks and balances and things like that. And Andy was telling me, who used to host the show with us years ago, Andy was saying, well, the reason for that is so they could start a war with their neighbors and the rest of NATO can't come and help them out.
That's true.
That's a great idea.
There's that. They can get all sorts of inside information on the plans.
Yep.
And all that. Yeah, it's didn't they put Russia in charge of the security?
Oh yeah, for the United Nations. Yeah, because it was their turn. Yeah.
I know, and with all this stuff going on, and they still let them, that is insane.
I don't know how you couldn't without completely kicking them out, which, is an
Okay,
option.
we can do that too.
Yeah, that's an option.
That's a better option.
That's an option. Well, I've had another fun and exciting All Tech Radio show with you, Scott, and we hope to see you again next week.